Hello, everyone. This week's parasha is Parashat Shlach, Shlach Lecha. Now, in this parasha, in the beginning, Moshe Rabbeinu sends 12 spies to go and see the land, and to go and check out the land to see if the land, if the land of Canaan is a strong land, if the people those who inhabit in the land, are they strong people? Do they have confidence, or they don't have any confidence? Also, to see the fruits, to see. So what happened was the spies, they went, they saw the land, they went there for 40 days, and they came back. After they came back, 10 out of 12 spies said negative information about the land of Canaan, the land of Israel. And what did they say? They said, "Haaretz asher avarnu ba latur ota eretz ochelet yoshveahi." It's the land of, that eats its inhabitants, meaning people were dying there, left and right, and that's the information that they brought back to Moshe. Now, really, we know Chazal tell us that Hashem did it purposely, that people should die in the land of Canaan. Why? So people should be busy with funerals, and they should not pay attention to the spies. But when the spies, when they came to land of Canaan, they saw huge crowds of people going out to the funerals. So they said, "Oh, this place has, probably has some kind of pandemic. People are dying left and right," and they explained it in a negative way. Now the question is, why was it really, and why was it so wrong what they said? Meaning, they said what they saw. They saw people were dying, and they came and this is what they told people, to Jewish people. Why was this considered to be like a slander? Against the land of Canaan, or the future land of Israel. And because of this, Jewish people got punished, like for 40 years, because they believed the spies. They got punished for 40 years. They traveled in the desert. But so the question is, why was it punishment? Why was it bad? What the people, what the spies told? Why was the report considered to be like a wrong report, not a good report? So interesting is that Stipler Gaon gives an interesting answer. He says that Meraglim saw what they wanted to see. Now, they saw the land of Israel with a bad eye. They didn't see it with a good eye. And especially what Baal Aturim says. According to what Baal Aturim, he says that the people, these spies, they were not just simple people. They were people with certain level. Yeah, they were very important people. So they said, if we come to Israel, because if they say good report about Israel, that's it. The next step is they're going into Israel. So in Israel, we won't be as important people anymore. We won't have these ranks anymore. We won't be so important. And because of that, they looked at, meaning everything that they saw, they interpreted in a negative way. They could have looked at it in a positive way, and if they would have seen everything that was going on in Israel, meaning the people are dying. Now, why are they dying? Hashem did this purposely. If they would see from a positive way, they would see they would see the chesed of Hashem. They would see the kindness of Hashem. Why? Because if really the land of Canaan, the future land of Israel, if it's really a place where people are dying nonstop and there are funerals nonstop, so then you would not see a big group, a big mass of people coming out to funerals. This would be an everyday thing. People are dying and dying and dying. Why would be masses coming out to the funerals? Opposite. It shows us that people did not die. It was a very rare thing that people died, and that's why there were masses coming out, for the funerals, because it was a rare thing. But because they had an agenda, because spies, they had an agenda, because they wanted to, because they did not want to go to Israel, eventually go into Israel, because they wanted to be in high ranks in the desert. Because of that, they interpreted everything that they saw. They interpreted in a negative way, meaning they could have interpreted in a positive way, but they decided to interpret in a negative way. And if they would really see, they could have seen the hand of Hashem. Everything that they saw, they could have interpreted in a positive way and opposite. See how Hashem was guiding them and helping them to do their job properly. There's a story in the Gemara, Gittin, Masechet Gittin. It says that the Rabbi Elish, he was arrested and he was imprisoned. While he was in a cell, a bird comes. And the bird starts chirping. And the bird says, Elish berach, Elish run away, Elish escape. Now, Rav Elish, he wasn't convinced with what he heard. Rav Elish, he understood the language of the birds, but he wasn't, he wasn't convinced. He turns to another cellmate, to another person who's also in the cell, and he tells him, "Did you hear what the bird said?" And the person, he also understood the language of the birds, and he said, "Yes, the bird said, Elish berach, Elish escape." So he was convinced. After he heard this, he was convinced that this was the message of the bird, and then he escaped from the prison. So Rabbi Akiva Eger asks, why did he have to ask from his, from another person who was in the prison? He should have just escaped. A bird came and told you, Elish, run away. This is the opportunity to run away. Why are you asking another person if the message was, if you heard a message properly or not? So Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, he gives an answer. He says, yes, Rav Elish, he did understand the language of the birds, but since this what Rav Elish wanted to hear, he wanted to hear that he should run away because he was suffering in the, he was in a cell. He did not want to be in a cell. That's why he was not sure if this is what the bird is telling him or not, because this is what he wanted to hear, and therefore he turns to somebody else for confirmation, to hear if this is what really the bird told him or not. So what lesson do we learn from this? A person hears what he wants to hear. A person sees what he wants to see, which means he could interpret the way he wants to interpret. He hears something and he interprets it according to what he wants to interpret. He sees something, he thinks he sees that thing because he wants to see that. It's according to his own interpretation. And therefore the people, the spies who came to Israel, when they saw large funerals, they interpreted the way they wanted to interpret. Why? Because they had a certain agenda, because they did not want to go into Israel eventually, because they're going to lose their positions. A lesson that we learn from this is a person could see something from a positive way or from a negative way, and the way he sees it, this is how he will interpret. A person sees something, he will interpret either in a negative way or in a positive way according to his own agenda. So it's a lesson for us to look things from a positively, from a right way. If we see it from a right way, we'll interpret it in a right way. Shabbat Shalom.